Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today is finally the Darrurai release video. I think that's how we pronounce his name. Darrurai? 3 syllables? That sounds good. Alright, with a little help from some members of the community, we have come up with the final result on what kind of a commander Darrurai is and what you can expect from him. And unfortunately, this video is being made to save people the pain and anguish of doing the hard work of finding out what this guy and what this Russian guy in sweatpants can do. Unfortunately, Darrurai is not as good as we'd hoped. So let's talk about it, and then we'll go from there. First skill is his 20% skill. It's Aether Shield. Basically, it's just a mild defense skill. He takes whatever his skill level is, and a third of it, whatever the troops that trigger it, their HP becomes their shield. I mean, it's okay. It's a 20% skill, not great. If you do stack a lot of defense and HP on your airships, it's good in that regard. Because you don't necessarily need to build damage on Darrurai because of his second skill. So he's one of those heroes you can kind of go more defense and more barriers and survivability than necessarily damage. So at least he's a change in the norm. He's a more traditional airship hero type. But that's kind of where the interesting bit of him leaves. This combo is okay with his next skill. So if you're going defense, his Soul Burn skill, which is only 40%, it'd be maybe a little better if it was 60%. It says that, well, the wording is terrible. That's why we're doing this video. The wording sucks. Basically what it says is when this triggers, the troops that your troops are fighting, so slot 1 fighting slot 1, the opponents will get a debuff. And that debuff is triggered when their turn starts. So if you're the defender, you always have first strike, and the person that attacks after you will always have the debuff if you triggered Soul Burn. If you're the attacker, you will trigger Soul Burn, but they won't actually get hit by it until the turn goes all the way around. So it makes him a better defender than an attacker in that regard as well. Soul Burn is affected by tier and tier suppression. So tier 2 doesn't do nearly as good against tier 7 because of how low tier it is. Now granted, tier 2 versus tier 7 is okay if no one's using tier suppression. It's not great, but it doesn't go as far than as a tier equal fight. And we're going to show those replays here so you have some data to look at. And I want to point out that Soul Burn is actually a cool skill because if, let's say, you have an equal fight against a defense commander, which doesn't happen a lot in airships. You'll know that Rogers, Raymond, and Golem are the main ones you run into, and Golem is not going to be beaten by Darrurai. I'm sorry, Rogers is not going to be beaten by Darrurai in a straight fight, and Golem and Raymond are just going to crush right through him. His Aether Shield isn't good enough. But he will be able to do a significant portion of damage based on his leadership and the amount of troops that trigger Soul Burn. And if it's level 30, you can assume that they're going to do 30% damage, whatever their damage, say it's 1,000 ships versus 1,000 ships. If you trigger Soul Burn at level 30, it's going to do 333 damage worth of ships to them, which is great, but golems are going to be one-shotting troop slots like that. So anyway, all right, and then of course there's a 60% awakening skill just like everyone else. Let's take a look first at what happens when there is tier suppression. In this video we have a 10% provided by Libra and another 8% there. So 18%, which is more than 100% when you factor in tier 7 minus tier 1. It's something like 110%. So the tier 1 damage should not affect the tier 7 troops. So there goes an Aether Shield to absorb. Here comes the first Soul Burn, and you'll see the debuffs get on slot 1, but it won't be triggered yet until the next time around. So there's the Aether Shield again and another Soul Burn. But of course the troops miss, and then Plasma Skill hits him for 4,800, which was quite a hit. So, yeah, and that was a weak Plasma Skill there. But okay, so then the back row is going to go here, and then we'll see Plasma trigger the first Soul Burn, and we'll see that it's going to do 0 damage because of that tier suppression. There is enough troops that triggered it, but we'll see 0 damage. There's the 0 damage. Now you also see 0 damage if the Soul Burn triggers and there's not enough troops to do enough damage at all. But in this one here, once again, there's a 0 Soul Burn, and that was when they were saying 77 troops, more than enough, 7,700 worth of troops. Should have been enough to kill one tier 3, and it just simply wasn't because of the tier suppression. So for math's sake, just remember that it was I think 77, so 770 units worth of troops, and then 21% of that should have been enough to kill him. But anyway, all right, so we'll fast forward that. No damage is done, and he gets crushed. In the next video, we remove the tier suppression from the equation. Wait a minute. Okay, I realize now that we had some tier suppression. That's interesting. I'll be damned. Okay, well, Terry, we might have to rerun that. You had two-piece Libra on, which explains why it worked, but not very well. Okay, well, so that's a good sign. We know it works. Let's turn our other light back on. Ta-da! Okay, so it took a tremendous amount of damage from Soulburn to finally break through. And now that we know that that was there, that's because he had 50% tier suppression on. But even then, not very good. I mean, to use 6,000 units worth of troop, right? You have 1,000 leadership Darrurai versus really a commander who's using 30 units per slot. I still end up losing over half my army in this. So anyway, there's the Soulburn. There's the first one, 798 damage. It doesn't even kill the slot, but that's the minimum you can do. And that's what he hit him for. It didn't kill him. And then we'll see it again here. The third slot's going to go. There it goes, 1352, and that's because the slot that triggered it was twice as much as the slot that originally triggered the other one. So this will keep going and going and going. I'll put it in this replay in case people do want to double take and go back in this and say, well, here's some more research we can look at. During this video, I was using the Armageddon Hall, and you saw what gear I was using, so that should give you guys a good baseline. But this video is more just to prove that if someone does want to go down this road, you can compare data. If I have it wrong, please tell me. If there's something great about this commander I'm missing, please let me know. But I think tier suppression is his bane, and if you don't have a skill that beats tier suppression, you better have something special, and he just doesn't. He's just a kind of middle-of-the-road airship commander that you can get through an Oracle event to release an S-Class. There might be a free commander event for him, I think, as well. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of his. I do like his direct damage-based skill, but really puts him as like a B commander if we had to put him in a ranking system where Rogers, Golem, the top 6 are like S-Class. They're fantastic heroes. They're always going to be good if you're a boss or not. And then there's like the A-Class guys that are just up there, but maybe not totally noteworthy. I think Darrurai kind of falls right under that category, kind of with the bulk of the commanders. So not the worst commander in the game, but he's going to be down there, unfortunately. So if anyone finds anything different, definitely hit the comments up. Let me know. Let me know what you found. I do have one more replay I want to show from a community member that shows what it's like to be in a more realistic, like high tier fight, or at least high tier for him. And you'll see kind of what that damage looks like. And I'm going to jump out of this game and into YouTube to show that replay. And let's see if that works first try, and it does. All right, so let's minimize that real quick. Up. All right, so this is Brian's video. Brian, thanks so much for sharing this and working with me on getting these replays out. This is the best one I wanted to show. So first attack, we get a soul burn, or second attack, we get a soul burn. Now the debuff is applied. Boom, there's the trigger, 98,000. All right, and it hits him right after. So here's the Aether Shield. Here comes the Soul Burn. It does the debuff. No damage yet, no damage yet, no damage yet. Here comes the damage. Boom. Okay, that's because his turn started. The exact same damage between Tier 4 and Tier 5. Technically, there was a little more Tier 4 there, but the damage goes up in blocks. It's not static like... so it does the minimum. It says the minimum amount it did to kill that many troops, and if it would have killed one more troop, it would have changed the value. So that's why we saw that. Anyway, okay, so... that is our review on Darrurai, and unfortunately, he wasn't the lost 40% tier suppression commander we're looking for. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Ghost Cannon for bullet is 40%. Rock's skill is Annihilator Ray is a 40% tier suppression beater. The only other thing I'll point out before I go any further with that is that Darurai's skill it is a guaranteed hit in a sense because you can't dodge it. Once it's on you, if you attack, it hits you. But it is affected by tier suppression. So, it is a weird guaranteed hit skill, but it's not necessarily as good as, say, Crush or Raymond's double hit skill. So, it's interesting in that regard, but it does require them to trigger it. So if you're attacking into somebody, they're always a turn ahead of you, and a lot of high level fights don't go more than a full round. They one shot each other. A lot of people build damage in that regard. So anyway, that's Darrurai. Thanks for watching. Yeah, and hit me up in the comments if you have any questions, or if you have any other interesting tidbits about other heroes you want to look at. We're a small community, so if you want to subscribe and comment in the channel, I'll definitely reply. And yeah. So, yeah, thanks for watching the video. We'll see you on the next one.